The afternoon sun cast long shadows across the trimmed grass of a small soccer field, nestled in a quiet New England town. Cheers and shouts filled the air as teenagers sprinted across the field, chasing the ball with a mix of fierce determination and youthful excitement. Among them was Benjamin "Rein" Brady, slim, focused, and wearing the number 10 jersey. For him, this wasn't just another school match. This was his escape, his sanctuary, his own arena far removed from the roar of NFL stadiums and the weight of his father's name. He was Tom Brady's son, but on this field, he wanted to be just Ben. From the sidelines, a crowd of parents and classmates cheered and jeered. It was the final minutes of the match, tied score, tension crackling in the air. A swift pass landed at Benjamin's feet. He maneuvered past a defender with surprising agility. The goal was in sight. He struck. The ball soared, but not toward the net. It veered high and wide, disappearing into the branches of a nearby oak. Silence. Then laughter. Not the innocent kind, the cruel, exaggerated kind that turns mistakes into mockery. "Guess the kid didn't inherit his dad's talent," someone shouted. A few parents chuckled louder. A teenager near the benches muttered, "Tom Brady's kid. More like Tom Blame Me's kid." The comments stung, piercing deeper than anyone could see. Benjamin's shoulders sagged as he jogged back, face flushed. The referee blew the whistle moments later. Game over. A draw on the scoreboard, but it felt like a personal loss. Before we dive deeper, make sure to subscribe to our channel for more inspiring stories that show the power of family, resilience, and unexpected heroes. In the locker room, Benjamin sat quietly, lacing his cleats with slow, deliberate movements. He could hear the post-game chatter outside, but none of it reached him. His teammates offered quick pats on the back, avoiding eye contact, unsure of what to say. He wasn't angry at them, he was angry at himself. He wanted to be great, not because of who his father was, but because of who he was trying to become. Soccer wasn't a rebellion against football. It was a love he found early, when he first saw the fluid beauty of a passing play in the Champions League. He didn't want to be a quarterback. He wanted to be a midfielder. He wanted to craft his own legend. But today, the world reminded him that his last name would never go unnoticed. Outside, a few parents chatted with visible amusement. One even replayed the missed goal on their phone for others to laugh at. The coach intervened, giving them a firm word, but the damage had already spread. Someone had recorded it. Someone always did. By the time Benjamin walked to the car, the clip was already making rounds on social media. It had captions like, "Not all goats pass down the magic," and "Brady Jr. bottles it." The comments were worse. At home, Benjamin skipped dinner, said he had homework. In reality, he lay in bed staring at the ceiling, the laughter still echoing in his ears. Tom Brady noticed. He always noticed. The signs were subtle, his son's silence, the slump of his shoulders, the way he avoided eye contact at the dinner table. But Tom didn't press. Not yet. He knew this kind of pain. It wasn't the kind you could bandage. It had to be understood. Still, something deep in his gut stirred. The father in him was ready to step in. The champion in him was furious. But he didn't yet realize that the moment that would change everything, for Benjamin, for their bond, and for the world, had already begun. The video spread like wildfire. What began as a cruel joke among a few sideline parents quickly became a trending clip across social media platforms. TikTok edits with dramatic sound effects, Instagram reels mocking Benjamin's expression after the miss, and Twitter threads speculating about his athletic potential. It was relentless. Strangers joined the fray, hiding behind usernames and fake profiles, tearing into a 15-year-old boy with the viciousness of a pack of wolves. "Stick to Madden, kid. Your dad would have scored that blindfolded." Proof talent skips generations. The hashtags were merciless. Brady fail, not the GOAT, Nepo flop. At school the next day, Benjamin walked the halls like a ghost. Some classmates offered sympathetic nods, but others couldn't help smirking or whispering behind his back. In the locker room, even the usual comfort of pre-practice banter felt poisoned. No one outright mocked him, but the silence was worse. Dense, awkward, as if waiting for him to snap or break down. He didn't, not in public. At home, though, the mask slipped. He came in, dropped his backpack by the door and went straight to his room. The door closed, not with anger, but with quiet resignation. His mother called softly, but he didn't answer. Inside, he pulled the curtains closed, shut off the lights and collapsed onto his bed. The walls, once covered with posters of Messi, Pulisic and Mbappé, now felt like silent judges. His cleats lay by the corner, untouched. His phone buzzed with message after message, some kind, most not. He turned it off. Downstairs, Tom Brady sat in the den staring at his laptop. The video had finally reached him. He watched it once, expression unreadable, then again, slower. Not at the miss, but at the crowd, at the adults laughing, the smug faces, the tone of their voices. He felt something burn inside him. This wasn't just a failed goal, this was a public dissection of a child, his child. And the world had forgotten that. Tom stood, paced the room, then walked to the kitchen where his wife looked up with concern. "He's hurting," she said before he could speak. "I know," Tom replied, voice low. "I need to do something." That night, Tom knocked gently on Benjamin's door. No answer. He entered anyway. The boy lay still, eyes open, staring at nothing. "I saw the video," Tom said gently. No reaction. He sat beside the bed, silent for a moment. "You know, I once threw 4 interceptions in a single game. People said I was done, that I was overrated, that I'd never win again." Benjamin didn't move, but his eyes flickered. Tom continued, "You're not me, you never had to be. I'm proud of you for doing something I never dared to try. You chose your own path." "I failed," Benjamin whispered, and they laughed. Tom sighed, placing a hand on his son's shoulder. They laugh because they don't understand what it means to care about something enough to fail at it. There was a pause, then a decision. Tom stood, grabbed his phone and walked out. Upstairs, he opened a blank post and began typing, not as Tom Brady the legend, but as a father, raw and real. "To the people laughing at my son, you may have forgotten what it feels like to be 15, to try, to fall short, and to feel the world's eyes on you. But I haven't, and neither has he." He wrote from the heart, no filters, no PR spin. By morning, the world would hear not just about a missed shot, but about a father's love, a son's courage, and what it really means to be great. Tom's post went live at 6:42 a.m. By 7, it was everywhere. It wasn't a press release. It wasn't crafted by a publicist. It was a father's voice, vulnerable, proud, fiercely protective. The post opened with a simple truth. This is about more than a soccer game. It's about a kid who had the courage to be himself. Tom recounted stories of his own failures, times he'd been benched, booed, told he wasn't good enough. He spoke of Benjamin not as Tom Brady's son, but as a boy with dreams of his own. A boy who loved a game different from his father's. A boy who had never asked to be in the spotlight, but now stood under it, facing the fire with quiet dignity. The post ended with a line that would be quoted across headlines for days. "If you measure a man by the courage to keep going when the world laughs, then my son is already greater than I ever was." Within an hour, the post had millions of views. Athletes from every corner of the sports world shared it. LeBron James tweeted, "Nothing but respect for this kid. Keep playing, Benjamin." Alex Morgan chimed in with, "The pressure on young athletes is real." This story hit home. But it wasn't just celebrities. Parents flooded the comments with stories of their own kids, how they faced bullying, how they struggled under expectations. The clip of Benjamin's missed goal, once used for mockery, was reposted with new captions. "This is what bravery looks like. A young man who showed up despite the noise." The tide had turned. Upstairs, Benjamin scrolled slowly through the comments. His fingers trembled slightly as he read words he never thought would be said about him. His father's letter was at the center of it all. The words dug deep, not in a painful way, but like a seed finding fertile ground. He got up, opened the window, and let the morning sun spill into his room. Later that day, Tom came home early from a scheduled meeting. He found Benjamin sitting on the back porch, kicking a soccer ball softly between his feet. Without a word, Tom joined him. They sat in silence for a while, watching the wind move through the trees. Then Tom stood, picked up the ball and passed it to his son. "Want to play?" Benjamin smirked. You sure you can handle it? You've never played soccer in your life. Tom grinned. I've studied enough Champions League to fake it. They moved to the yard and started passing, laughing at their terrible touches, shouting playful insults. For the first time in days, the tension melted. Benjamin dribbled past his father and celebrated with his arms in the air. "Goal!" he shouted. Tom feigned collapse. "You see that? That's what greatness looks like." Later, as the sun dipped low, Tom sat beside his son and said, "You know, all that noise, it doesn't define you. What you love, how you treat people, how you bounce back, those are the things that matter." Benjamin nodded. "I don't think I want to quit anymore." Tom put an arm around him. "Good. Because I think the world just realized what I've known all along. And in that moment, it wasn't the fame or the headlines that mattered. It was the quiet connection between father and son, forged not in triumph, but in truth." Benjamin returned to practice the following week. The field looked the same, but something had changed, within him and around him. The whispers were gone. So were the sideways glances. Instead, he was greeted with fist bumps, nods, even a few hesitant apologies. His teammates hadn't fully understood what he'd gone through until the rest of the world had seen it laid bare. He wasn't just the quarterback's son anymore. He was Benjamin, the kid who took the hits and came back. Coach Ramirez, a grizzled veteran of youth sports, pulled him aside before drills. "You showed a lot of heart, kid. Keep your head up. You're exactly where you belong." That afternoon, Benjamin played with a new kind of freedom. Not to prove something, but because he loved it. Every pass, every sprint, every tackle, it all reminded him why he had chosen this sport in the first place. For the joy, the rhythm, the connection. A week later, a youth sports charity invited him to play in a special exhibition match aimed at raising awareness about mental health in athletics. The event featured kids from all over the region, many of whom had faced bullying, burnout, or anxiety from the pressure of competition. Tom wasn't sure if Benjamin would say yes, but his son surprised him. "I think I should go," Benjamin said. "If sharing what happened can help someone else, then maybe it was worth it." The match was held at a modest stadium, filled with supportive families, teachers, and students. There were no boos, no cruel laughter, just encouragement. Benjamin stepped onto the pitch wearing the same number 10 jersey, but this time it didn't feel heavy. It felt like armor. He played with joy. Smooth passes, confident movement, a grin after every interaction. In the second half, he made a clever run and finished with a clean strike into the bottom corner of the net. The crowd erupted. He didn't celebrate wildly. He jogged back calmly, smiled, and pointed to the stands where Tom stood, applauding with quiet pride. Reporters later described it as a goal of redemption. But for Benjamin, it wasn't about redemption. It was about coming home to himself. After the match, several younger players approached him, eyes wide, voices timid. "Are you really Tom Brady's son?" "Yeah," he said, smiling. "But today I'm just Ben." The kids laughed, and one of them added, "You were awesome out there." Later that week, Benjamin was invited to speak at a youth seminar hosted by a local sports foundation. He stood in front of a crowd of young athletes, coaches, and parents, nervous at first but grounded. "I thought the worst thing in the world was missing that shot," he began. "But the worst thing would have been letting other people's opinions stop me from doing what I love." He spoke about pressure, expectations, and the weight of legacy. He didn't pretend to have all the answers. He just told the truth. That honesty resonated far beyond the auditorium. Clips of his speech went viral again, but this time for the right reasons. Hashtags shifted. Brady strength, play with heart, just Ben. Soon other young athletes began sharing their own stories, using Benjamin's courage as a spark. Coaches discussed how to better support kids under pressure. Schools opened conversations about online bullying in youth sports. Benjamin had unknowingly become the face of a quiet revolution, one where mental health, personal identity, and the joy of the game came before stats and surnames, and he was just getting started. Months passed, the headlines faded, the hashtags cooled. But Benjamin's life didn't return to the way it was. It moved forward stronger, steadier. He was still playing soccer, still studying hard, still walking the same school hallways. Yet something fundamental had shifted inside him. He no longer carried the weight of a name like a burden. He carried it like a shield, because he had earned his own identity within it. He still missed shots sometimes, he still had off days, but the fear of being judged no longer owned him. What mattered now was the love of the game, the respect of his teammates, and the quiet pride in knowing he had faced something bigger than any opponent, and refused to back down. Tom noticed the change too. He saw it in the way Benjamin laughed again, freely and without flinching, in how he walked with his head high, in how he no longer looked to his father for approval, but simply for companionship. One Friday evening after dinner, they sat together in the living room, watching a Champions League replay. "You still thinking about college soccer?" Tom asked. Benjamin nodded. "Yeah, not sure where yet, but I want to play." Tom sipped his drink, then smiled. "Good. You've got what it takes." There was a pause. "So you mean talent?" Benjamin asked. Tom shook his head. "No, grit." Benjamin chuckled. "Guess I did get something from you." Tom leaned back, proud. "You got the best part." The two of them sat in contented silence, the rhythm of the game playing out in front of them. It wasn't about touchdowns or trophies anymore. It was about moments like this, quiet, simple, true. Elsewhere, Benjamin's story continued to ripple outward. His speech at the youth seminar had inspired invitations from schools across the country. He began writing short essays about sports pressure and identity, some of which were published in national youth magazines. At 15, he wasn't chasing a career in advocacy, but he had found a purpose alongside his passion. And more importantly, he had helped others find their voices too. One email from a girl in Oregon read, "I wanted to quit basketball after missing a game winner. People made fun of me. But then I saw your story and I stayed. Thank you." Another from a coach in Florida said, "Your speech changed how I talk to my players. You made me better at what I do." Benjamin read every message. Not out of ego, but out of connection. He had been where they were, and he knew how lonely that road could feel. But now, it didn't feel so lonely anymore. His journey had begun with humiliation and mockery, but it ended, not with vindication, but with transformation. He didn't just survive the moment, he grew because of it. He became more than a name, more than a headline, he became himself. And so the story of Benjamin Rein Brady reminds us all that greatness isn't inherited, it's chosen. It's built in the quiet hours after failure, in the decisions to keep showing up, in the courage to say, "I'm not done," in the love of a father who stood not in front of his son, but beside him, and in a boy who turned a laugh at his expense into a voice for others. If this story moved you, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and click the suggested video on your screen now for another powerful story that will inspire you even more.